Hello and welcome back to another one of our podcasts. Today we're going to be talking about the changes in digital in accountancy. I'm joined once again by Andrew Revis and Robyn Moore. My name is Jack Revis and Robyn's going to be leading today once again with the questions, so straight over to you.
Yes, so I wanted to start with kind of getting a feel for your experience in the changes that's happened over the years. So I wanted to first ask, what were the standard practices when you first started working in the profession?
You can go first, you've been in it longest.
Right, okay, yes, I've been in it now for 24 years. I think initially when I started it was just myself, so I had to do everything myself. As far as digital was concerned, there wasn't too much of it. Sole trader accounts were all prepared using spreadsheets, and the only actual software we had was VT Transaction, which we prepared accounts on. Payroll was written on paper, so you had to calculate it all yourself, do it in your head, and things were very different in those days. The other things that we did, I couldn't even do the limited company accounts myself because I didn't have the software. I had to subcontract that out to another firm.
Wow.
Because we did quite a few of them.
Yeah.
They would do it at a reasonable price, but it was all we had. That was all we started out with. So.
Okay. Yeah, well, so I do remember you using like the spreadsheets and stuff, but when I started, we were using VT. We had, I think it was Thesaurus back then, before it was BrightPay for payroll. So we were using software for that, Excel.
Same company, actually.
Same company, yeah, I know the same company, but before they rebranded. And then I think it was starting, like QuickBooks and all these kind of people were starting to come on the scene in the cloud. They had their desktop versions, and no offense, QuickBooks was crap. But there wasn't lots of cloud when I come in, really. So there was still Excel, VT, but then you were using Iris, I think, back then for accounts, I want to say. Or was it Iris?
Yes, we did use Iris, but it was very costly.
Yes, it was very costly. So, but that's what you used for your accounts production back when I started. So there wasn't any paper anymore. That was when I was in, which was quite nice, especially my handwriting. So it was quite nice that we were on computers, but not fully digitised. There was still a lot of paper, which I guess would be completely different again to what yours was.
Yeah, completely different. I mean, obviously I came in a lot later. The only kind of paper really was like filing. That we were still doing some manual inputting. The rest we were starting to use Receipt Bank at the time, and then there was one before that, but I don't think I used that.
HubDoc, we used HubDoc.
But that was mostly on QuickBooks.
Yeah.
I think there's still a couple that we do manually. But other than that, it was all quite.
So we're pretty much all cloud when you come in.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. So there you go.
Very broad range.
Very broad. It's quite nice. Yeah. Okay.
So what was the first significant change that you kind of encountered?
I would have to say that was when I first bought in the first type of software that we could use. It was digital, and that was TaxCalc. I always liked TaxCalc. It was a good piece of equipment. Because the difference was what happened in the early days with the tax return was you'd have to print it off, or you do it manually. You write it in you actually fill it in.
Oh, really?
Yes, you actually write all the figures in there, and then you send it by post. You take a copy, send it in the post, and then on the 31st of January, the deadline day, you're down the tax office, half a dozen returns that your foreign ones it had, and they'd give you a receipt for it. And then we got a TaxCalc, which is a superb piece of equipment. All of a sudden, there's no more putting it in the post. You pressed a button and that was it. It was gone and it was done. That was a big change.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I'm still using TaxCalc today.
Well, the thing is, we stopped using TaxCalc.
Yes.
Because TaxCalc at the time, that was all it did, was tax returns. And where I was expanding the practice, I then had to move into something bigger that would do practice management for us. That's what we went into using Iris.
Yeah.
So as much as I loved TaxCalc, it had to go because Iris would do everything for us. You see, on the same platform.
Yes, but but now we've gone full circle and we're back with tax account because they do everything.
They do everything. Actually, we've gone back to it, so
yeah,
it's
which
a
is
really good
nice.
thing.
I do really like tax account because you're saying about photocopying the stuff before you send them out in the post. That was the first job I did for Revis and Co. was photocopying tax returns.
Oh really?
Back when I was very young, that was my first ever job.
Yeah.
Was photocopying those tax returns.
See, one of the things with all these software things is that there's a big cost element to it all.
Yes.
But then also you could get your photocopying all those tax returns, all the paper we'll be using,
Yeah.
all the ink we'll be using, all the postage costs. Our postage costs, our stationery costs are minimal now.
Yeah.
Because all the changes have been implemented.
Negligible, yeah. Yeah, we hardly send anything in the post now. The only people we have to send anything to in the post is HMRC, which is quite funny because they're trying to be the most digital people in the world. But for me, so what was the main question again?
So the first significant change you encountered.
So for me, I guess it would be going to the cloud because we were already using desktop software when I started, and then it was the cloud coming about, and how then at one point we were getting told you're going to have to use the cloud. I think MTD, I guess, would be my biggest for me significant because, which I'm sure we'll come on to a bit more in a bit, but yeah, I think the cloud itself would be my biggest change. Because as I say, yeah, we were using computers anyway, and like the desktop software. So moving on to the cloud and then having that flexibility that the cloud brings, that would be my change, but nowhere near as good as Andrew's. But I don't know if you've really had any.
Not particularly, to be honest, not like significant changes. It's all kind of been small, kind of moving on from the filing to go full time, like on Dex now.
Yes.
I guess that would be the main one, and then MTD for that coming up in April. That's going to be, I guess, the first one to come to fruition.
Yes.
But other than that, not really any significant ones. So
No, yeah, because when you joined, the paperwork was minimal anyway that we were getting. So I guess for me that's quite a big change. Is no paperwork compared to what we used to have. We had some clients when for 1 month's worth of paperwork it was stacks.
Yeah.
And we were getting that, and now we don't see that paperwork anymore, and the client doesn't see that paperwork anymore because of the changes that we've implemented over there. So paperwork is a big one and one I do not miss. That is for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. And then the next one I wanted to talk about was kind of what was the most beneficial advance you think? What has helped the most?
I would say the most beneficial thing would have been when we started to use receipt bank.
Yes.
Although initially I was put off by the cost, I thought it was a lot, but then obviously we do just charge that cost on now. But it took a long time before we actually had enough clients on there to justify the cost. But the difference from inputting everything manually to just taking a picture and then that's on the software, speed that is tremendous change.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Receipt bank, which now Dext, huge difference. So beforehand, we were spending hours filing paperwork. We don't file paperwork anymore. Even so, once when we were doing those clients still with who were giving us the paperwork, we wasn't filing that anymore because we're taking a picture. So we were just having stacks of it, and then we were giving them stacks back because we're taking that picture. It's going through the system, and then that bit of paper is attached to a transaction in QuickBooks, which is a big game changer because beforehand, if you've got a query on a transaction, we'd have to go back to the files, flick through them, try and find that one bit of paper you want to try and figure out what that was or whatever, and all this kind of stuff. But now it's just a link, click it, oh cool, that's what it was, and then so big change. That was huge, and I think definitely one of the best ones that was implemented. And it was expensive. Well, it still is expensive. I guess the cost hasn't really changed too much, but it is definitely worth the cost we pay for it. Definitely worth the cost. Without it, we
and also the feedback that we have from clients as well.
Yes.
I think it's amazing because it's all this massive stack of paper that no longer got it.
Yeah, because they don't have to keep paperwork anymore. Because whereas we were taking loads of paperwork and they're finding somewhere in their attic or this to put all this paper, whereas now, well, they've taken the picture, cool, bin it, it's fully HMRC compliant, we don't need it anymore, we've got that digital copy. So get rid, it's like making everyone's lives easier, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, would there be anything of yours that you would see? Or?
I think, obviously Dex has been quite a big one, seeing that it come into force fully now.
Yes.
Like there's basically nothing that we manually input.
No.
Really. The other one was kind of BrightPay Connect.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
would say, because that's like the first one where when it first came out, really, I think I was definitely here for that, and then seeing that kind of, we're trying to bring that into more and more of our clients.
Definitely. So to give an overview of what BrightPay Connect is, basically it's a cloud element of our payroll system, which gives employees a chance to access their pay slips, do holiday requests, all that kind of stuff. But also for us, it's requests from the employer to get hours, and then approval through the system. It's got that full audit log, just to clarify what BrightPay Connect actually is. But fantastic add-on to our software, to our payroll software, which again we used to charge out, but then BrightPay changed their charging, and we're now including on employee payrolls, which was quite good for employers and the employees, because it's a much more slick system, I would say. Because we use it, well, we started off using it in-house first, just to see what it was like, and then just progress from there. And then we're in the rollout phase at the moment. Like you had one today, for example. It's like, right, let's put them on there. So we're still rolling it out, getting as many clients on it as possible. But no, BrightPay Connect is very good.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think there are any changes that you think haven't worked so well, or you think could have gone better in any way?
MTD.
I think there's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trial and error, wasn't there?
A lot of trial and
Because
error.
there were so many products out there, and we were going out to see a lot of things at different expos to look at different stuff. And we took on board some, didn't we? And they didn't work.
No.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it didn't.
It's always going to happen, but I think where we are now, it's good.
Yeah.
A lot of the majority of the stuff we've got now.
Definitely.
Well, I think one of the best products we've got now is a Go Proposal.
Yes, yeah.
Perfect.
Definitely. So I'll give you a buzzword, app stack. That's what we're building. That's what we've been trying to build all these years. Like the receipt capture, like Receipt Bank and all that, we've been through a few of them. We've tried a few of them. The end product is, I guess, the same, but it's getting there slightly different. And personally, when we looked at Dex or Receipt Bank at the time, the better one that we thought. And then then there's like cash flow forecasting apps, management accounts, all of these random different apps that you might think, your inventory apps, sales apps. There's, like you said, there's loads of them, absolutely loads of them. So we've been slowly but surely building them up. Yes, some of them didn't work, and unfortunately some of them cost, a bit, and it was a bit of a shame that we've had to pay. But as part and parcel of what we're trying to do, we're trying to be a cloud practice, trying to build those apps and trying to say to our clients, these are the ones you should use. So we have to try them first. So if before we say to any client, use this app, we'll always try it in-house first. Like we'll try it with us. For example, Pleo is the most recent one we got on board with, which again is another app, but it's also a company expense card, basically, in a quick nutshell. We rolled that out in-house first before we gave it to anyone. I really like it. I think it's actually really useful. I remember when I said to you about, let's use it in-house, you were like, nah, we won't use that. They're using it all the time. Like you guys you've all got a card, and just going to get milk. Like that's just made that easy, and all that kind of stuff. And then Go Proposal is fantastic, and that's our proposal and engagement software. So which beforehand we were using TaxCalc for, but with the Go Proposal now, it's enabled all the staff to get involved with proposals and costing and pricing up for clients, and completely changed the way we price stuff. So it's made us a lot more transparent, and it's made the clients understand more of what they're getting from us and what they're actually paying for. Because a lot of the time, the client will say, right, they're paying us £100 a month. It's like, well, okay, what we're getting, like we're getting accounts fees, we're getting a bit of payroll in there. It's like, Go Proposal, and again, you were a bit worried about the cost of that one.
That's right, yeah, but I think
that's made its money back, and
it's worth its weight in gold, that one is.
100%.
It's so professional, though, when it goes out to the client. And I like the way it does break down the cost, see exactly what they're paying for.
Yeah, definitely. But again, at first, that one, big cost, we're not getting through it. But the other issue with paying for these softwares is when you commit to them, we've got to have time to look at them and do them.
Yeah.
We've had a few recently when we've been paying for it for almost a year, and then we just didn't use it. We've just been paying 12 months worth of stuff because we didn't have a chance to properly look at it. So that falls on us, but it's just those kind of things that we've got to take in consideration when doing it. But I don't think there's been any major catastrophes
No.
out of stuff we tried to implement.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they've all kind of worked, but they're just we've either refined it or gone to someone else that does the same and sort of gone from there. I would say. That's
Yeah.
my thought. Yeah.
That's good then.
Mm.
And then my last question is overall, kind of, what are your thoughts on the digitalising of the profession? Kind of opinions and.
I think it's really good.
I suppose I'm a bit old-fashioned. I was a little bit anti it when it all started coming out because I liked the way I worked and that, and also I was concerned about we're going to lose we did a lot of bookkeeping for clients. So I was concerned we were going to lose that. But what it's actually done is it's not really lost it, but it's sped that part of the work up, which means that we're more available to have clients with other things.
Yes.
So we can do a lot more things for the clients because we have that much more time.
Definitely. Yeah, because I do remember when we implemented decks and stuff, and they were saying to the client, right, well, you start taking pictures of your stuff, then we'll get it in here, and then this and that. And they were like, well, we're doing it for you, basically, aren't we? It was like, well, no, you're not. You're helping, yes, but you're getting that there, but the benefits outweigh that. But then, so that's then, it was a few years later, we then implemented Go Proposal on our pricing sort of change and reflects it better. So we've got two different things. If the client adds it on decks, it will cost you this much. If you don't, then it costs you this much. So we've reflected that cost saving or time saving element in the client's fees now. So that was one of the things at first with that one. But
we can add so much more value to the
yes,
client now.
value added services, another buzzword for you.
That's right,
Another buzzword.
Whereas before, I was just so busy because we didn't have all this stuff, didn't we?
Yeah.
There's no way I didn't have the time to do things like that. I was working silly hours, but now it's much better.
Because you've moved a lot more into consultants.
Yeah, and I've accepted it now. I can see the benefits of it.
Yes, definitely. So I'm a big advocate, which I know you know. Everyone I think should be on the cloud.
So you would have taken it on easy if you grow up with all this stuff. Because I never used a computer till I was 25 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so for me to take all this on board, it was a big change for me.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, big advocate. I think everyone should be on the cloud, and I think the benefits. I think a lot of people can't see past the cost a lot of the time. All they see from me saying it's going to cost you X amount per month. So they've ignored the benefits of it, and they're just going, oh, well, it's going to cost me more money. And again, then they start getting and I'm doing your work. It's again that kind of, but it's actually, no, that's not what's happening. There's a lot of benefits to it. And I think one of the biggest benefits, I think, if COVID happened, let's say 8 years ago, big C word, but how much harder would it have been for us to continue to give a good service to our clients? But everything's in the cloud. We can access it wherever we are. We were instantly able just to go, cool, right, boom, everybody's at home. QuickBooks is there. We've got our software there. And then during COVID, more of our self-employed started using some cloud elements to get stuff to us more easier. And I just think that's one element. You can access it no matter where you are. I don't know, you go on holiday, it's one-man band. You go on holiday, yeah, but you still do have to do some work. You're one-man band kind of thing, or one-woman band. You can access it from your phone. You get an inquiry or something, you think it's a big job, you think, oh, I really want this job. Right, cool, I can quote it up on my phone because QuickBooks is on your phone. And then MTD, you can't avoid it in this, but MTD has forced more people to do it, which I think at the start, with some of our limited companies, helped us to get them on the cloud because it was at the time when it was like, well, you don't actually have a choice. It's law now. So unfortunately, you got to do it. It's not just us trying to get you on it. So obviously, which helped us get them on there. But now they're on there, they're like, oh, actually, no, this is much better. But that, I think, helped us with that.
So we're quite, certainly with you taking it on board, we were very proactive. We were one of the earliest practices to get as far as we have along the line.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned about MTD for that this April. So the first MTD for that was years ago now, which was if your turnover was over 85k, you had to do it. And now it's anybody that's VAT registered has to do it. We've got, I think, one left to do.
Yeah.
Because and 2 of them we've got left to do really, but one of them's already on the cloud because we've been doing on the cloud internally. So with those ones, they're already ready. So again, and there's still people out there, you know, running around frantically going, oh no, I've got to do it, you know, I haven't set it up yet, not figured it out. But yeah, I think digitalisation of the accounting sector, it's like any sector right now. If you look at a lot of sectors out there, on a little side note, I was on like a conference last week, which was not to do with accounting, it was about insurance, but it was about AI and insurance. So they're going through digital transformation.
Yeah.
So lots of different sectors are going through these digital transformations, and I think the end goal is all the same, really, of, you know, sleeker work, easier work, much easier for everybody involved. And I just think the transformation is key for where we're going.
Yeah. Well, the technology's here, we might as well use it.
Exactly, and the next thing then is our sole traders, and to get them on. But then again, so we've been trying for quite a few years to start getting sole traders on there. Again, they've seen the cost and they're like, well, I don't have to do it, so why should I? So, you know, that's what we've been fighting against. But now, is it next year? What year we're in? 22, 24? 24. So a couple of years, again, we're going to have that same thing. Oh, I don't want to do it, it's extra cost. It's like, well, actually now, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
That's that now. HMRC, it's in law, boom, you've got to do it. But I think, again, once they start using it, they'll realise how much better it is. And it will make them look more professional, because a lot of them say we'll give out a Word invoice to their customers at the moment, whereas they can just go on their phone, let's say finish a job, and I go around there, send them a very nice looking invoice with a pay now button on it, so they can be paid before they even leave, kind of stuff. Whereas they're going home in the evening, creating a Word document, sending it off, and then a few weeks later they're mentioning, oh, could you get, oh yeah, sorry. But so all that kind of stuff, it's just, I think it will work, but a lot of people are blinded by the costs. But because unfortunately I think it's free.
Yeah.
But cost benefit analysis, it's definitely worth it, I'd say. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. I think it's definitely kind of inescapable in this day and age, kind of. There's no kind of way around not becoming digitalised in that sense, because there's so much going on the internet, and there's like people find us through Facebook and socials and whatever, so how can you be digitalised in that sense and then go back to working on paper? Like, I know so many practices right now are kind of struggling with the digitalisation, and they're kind of working against it almost. But I think, and definitely, as you said, COVID's kind of brought everyone up to speed with it.
Definitely.
Because again, inescapable. There's nothing we could have done.
It's even like COVID has brought forward a lot of stuff we had planned. Like for example, SharePoint. We still had a file server in this room before COVID, so that sort of picked that up. And then again, the phone system, we had a standard phone system before. We're now on a VoIP system because of COVID. So everything did just get brought forwards. And you got to think as well, with this digital, pretty much everyone's carrying around a smartphone in their pocket, whether they know how to use it or not. Everyone's got a smartphone, pretty much, give or take. So they've already got that tech. They're already connected to the internet. They already have a good idea of what's going on, and all it would be is just another app on their phone. Really, if you think of it that way, for a lot of people, it's just another app that they can open and use. I think it's not something to be scared of, and I think it's very good for this sector. I know a lot of older practices don't like it because of, you know, they don't want to get involved in it, like you said yourself before, you do want to get involved in it, you know, but
for a lot of older practitioners, I think they're bringing forward their retirement dates,
which is one issue. But I think, unfortunately, the way the world in itself is going, I don't think it's escapable anyway. I think, and what clients expect from us. You think now what clients are expecting real-time information from us. They want to phone and ask us a query about their current accounts. The days of coming in 9 months later after year end and having a meeting and saying about something that happened over 12 months ago is sort of, you know, that's ended, because okay, well that was 12 months ago, but now we've moved on to this, and that's now that, and you know, but
gone are the days when you're just looking at historical data.
We're working on stuff all the time. It's real time. We've got open banking, all those bank feeds coming in. You know, it's sort of
much better advice we can give because it's up to date.
Exactly. So I mean, all in all, good thing. It's a good thing.
Nice. Well, was my last question.
That was your last question. Okay. Well, excellent. Well, thank you once again for joining us on this podcast. I think this was a little bit shorter than last time, which is good. But again, they are going to be regular, so we are keeping them up to date. And there will be more videos coming soon as well. But otherwise, please make sure to like, subscribe, share this, drop us a comment below. But otherwise, we will see you in the next one. Cheers.